Seeing no questions, we'll move on to the principal's report, including an ECRA data report.
So I have a few things to report out on tonight before covering the two reports that are included in the packet, which is the professional development report and the ECRA data report. So earlier this month, we held grade level assembly meetings, as we normally do at the start of each semester, to remind students of the academic and behavioral expectations that we have for them. These presentations can be found on the website, and then we also communicate them out on our district newsletter as well. So we did present the testing information to each class, but as Dr. Skink has said already, the science test has changed, and originally the state had told us that it would be a sophomore level test, and now we were told that it's a course-based biology test, so for us that's grade 9. So we'll start sharing that information out to our families, and then as Dr. Skink has said, keep you and all of the families updated. On Friday, I also attended a presentation by a college board representative about the new SAT. And as many of you know, the SAT is a college board product. And so I presented a lot of information at the last board meeting regarding the difference between the ACT and the SAT. One piece of new information I learned at this presentation is that the SAT has moved to online score reporting, which has a lot of new features that provide a lot of additional information for students. So one exciting thing is that SAT plans to release their questions. And so what that means is a student will be able to log on to their account and see what they answered for a question, what the correct answer was, what standards align to that question, the level of difficulty, but then they're also able to click on that question so that they can see what the actual question was and then why the correct answer is what it is. The other neat thing is that students will be able to see what their score was and then see what additional standards that they need to meet to get a different score. So for example, if a student had an 800 but they wanted to get to 1,000, they could click on those two scores and see what additional standards they need to master in order to get to 1,000. So I think a lot of this information will help students prepare for the next time they take it, and will hopefully be helpful for us as well. So at the presentation, they said that a lot of that information should be available to us in that interactive format, but they're still finalizing some of those features from the educator standpoint. On Saturday, we had over 300 8th grade students register for their classes next year. And based on preliminary number of students expressing interest in the C team, the numbers seem about where they were last year, but we still have some students that need to complete the registration process. Like I know we had a makeup day today, and then we have some additional students that set up individual appointments. So once all of those numbers come in, I'll be meeting with the C team teachers and instructional coaches to see if we can run the program as it used to be, which it doesn't look like, but if we could brainstorm viable options with the numbers that we do have to run the program in some capacity. So I'll update you on the enrollment in February once we have more concrete information regarding that. Semester 1 report cards were mailed home the week of January 11th. Families can also review student grades via Skyward. For those students who may have failed a course that it's a graduation requirement, we expect to see them in summer school, and we plan to communicate that beginning now to those families so that we can hopefully increase the number of students that attend summer school this summer. We're still currently working and finalizing the summer school brochure, and we'll share that out with you before we publish the brochure at the end of March. The Handbook Committee has been working very hard to revise the handbook, and I think we've had over 13 students participate on the Handbook Committee, which is more than I think we've ever had. Normally we have, 2. So we're very excited about that. And I know Dave Mannon and his staff have been working really hard on that. And so in February, you'll receive a first read of the handbook. And then later tonight, Mr. Mannon will be reporting out on some of the attendance and discipline data from the first semester.
Is there a board member on the committee? Mike, are you on here?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. An activity update. While most of us tried to stay warm on Martin Luther King holiday because it was one of the coldest days we've had, RB's new ski club went to Cascade Mountain for their first trip, and it was a huge success. We had 45 students attend the trip, and they all had a great time. And so they were very excited about that opportunity. We also had 10 students travel to ISU on January 16th to participate in the Illinois High School Theater Festival, which is a trip you approved back in August. And all the students had a great time, and several of those students are currently involved in the musical, so they were able to bring back what they learned to the cast and crew of the musical. Our new club, that's Art Club, is also up and running, and they recently had over 40 students attend a meeting to create ceramic bowls that then they donated to Empty Bowls fundraiser to raise money for local food banks. So that's off to a great start. Winter sports are coming to an end, so we have a lot of things coming up this weekend. Competitive cheerleading competes in sectionals, gymnastics competes in their independent conference, and boys basketball will play St. Joe's, which is a top 5 team in the Class 3A, to get them hopefully ready for playoffs, which don't start for another month. And then the following weekend, on Saturday, February 6th, the wrestling team competes in their regional event, and boys swimming has their independent conference. The other 2 sports, competitive dance placed 4th in their conference invite and received 8th place in their sectional that last weekend. And then girls basketball is currently tied for 1st place in their conference, and their playoffs start in about 2 weeks or so. So that's the information that I have in the principal's report before we move on to the 2 special reports. Were there any questions?
And
Okay.
the 2 reports we're going to cover, I mentioned one, the ECRA data report, and the second one is the first semester school culture/activity data report.
No, the first report is the professional development summary.
Okay.
And then the next one is the ECRA report.
Okay.
The discipline report is listed
gonna
later.
move
We're going to move that up as part of your presentation,
Okay.
so if you would cover all 3.
All right.